I think I might have been sleepwalking through my life, and I need to do something about it before it's too late. I've had the same routines for a long time, and that's been nice, but I'm moving into a different stage of life now, and I've just been carrying on as normal, waiting to see what might happen next, rather than doing things intentionally to actually plan for what I want to happen. And I know what will happen in the end, but hopefully that's quite a long way away. And I want to make the most of the time that I have between now and then. I know from my own experience that it's very easy to fall into a routine and then just keep doing it because it's comfortable and familiar. But is it a routine that I've outgrown? Or is it stopping me from making progress towards the sort of life that I want for the future? I realise that I can't answer those questions unless I take a closer look at what my values in life are. And then that seemed a bit complicated, so it was tempting to just forget about it and get back to my usual routine. But I know that I don't really want to hide from it. I just want it to be easy. So I wonder if you can relate to that and that you just keep going with your usual routine, waiting to see what the future might bring, not wanting to rock the boat too much, even though you know that things will need to look different in the future and that your life will change whether you want it to or not. I mean, maybe you already feel clear about what's important to you and you already keep an eye on that quite regularly. But if you don't, maybe you would like to join me in taking a closer look and checking whether you need to make any changes to make sure that your day-to-day life is a good fit for your values and for your hopes and dreams for the future. So I know that I haven't been doing that, and that's why it feels like I might have been sleepwalking through my life. But that's about to change, because I'm introducing an annual review of my values, to make sure I know what they are and to make sure that I'm keeping up if they happen to change over time. And when I know what my values are, I will be able to check if I've built a life for myself that fits with those values or if I need to make some changes. So I've spent a bit of time on this already, and it's been a really useful and interesting thing to do. So I thought I would make a video and share some of the things that I've been doing and the things that I've learned. And maybe if you're like me and didn't really know where to start with something like this, maybe this video will help. And it actually wasn't as complicated as I thought once I got started. And it's surprisingly enjoyable to spend time thinking about yourself and how your feelings might have changed over the course of your life. And it's quite motivating to know that the end goal is to build a life for yourself that's a great fit for you. So that should be a nice reward for any hard work that it might involve. I mean, there's also something a bit scary about it, in case you discover anything uncomfortable. But I consoled myself with the knowledge that I won't have to let go of anything that I don't want to, because those things are likely to fit with my values anyway. So let's be brave and take a closer look. But how do you figure out what your values are and what are the most important things to you in life? Well, you do have to do a bit of thinking, and luckily I quite like doing that. But that doesn't mean I found it easy. It probably did help that I've been on this journey of self-discovery for a while now, so I'm getting used to asking myself questions and waiting to see if any answers bubble up. So the question I asked myself this time was to think of some examples of times when I felt most alive. That sort of feeling you get when you feel really awake and energised by what you're doing. Because that buzz that you get is a way of knowing that you're doing something that really fits with your values. So I struggled a bit to start with because I was trying to think about big events, but when I relaxed the criteria to more of the everyday things that make me feel good, it was a bit easier to start putting together a list. So these are the things I came up with. So I like the feeling of being about to set off on a holiday or an adventure. I like the feeling of knowing I've helped someone or made a difference in their life. I like the feeling of learning something new that will be helpful to me or to someone else. I like the feeling when life is simple and my surroundings are clean and tidy. I like waking up in the morning and feeling good because I've looked after myself, eaten well, exercised and slept well. I like laughing and I like being around people who make me laugh, and I like having the opportunity to try and make other people laugh. So I wonder if you've been able to come up with a list like that, and if any of yours are similar to mine. I think for me that represents quite a good summary of the things that feel important to me. And if I've managed to capture my feelings correctly, my strongest values at the moment seem to be having purpose and impact. So using my curiosity and drive to make a difference to people. Having newness and anticipation for adventures, learning and new things. Having laughter, connection and physical well-being. And then having simplicity and order. So now I've got some criteria to use for checking against my life as it is at the moment. And the good news is that I'm doing okay with most of them. So there are plenty of things that I don't need to change. But I can see that there are some gaps between what's most important to me and what my current life looks like. And I could actually spot the gaps quite quickly once I had that list. And those gaps are with my love of learning and my wish for simplicity and order in my life. So it isn't to say that I wouldn't want more of some of the other things, but I don't feel that they're lacking at the moment. And that's the holidays, helping other people, health and fitness and laughter. They're all important to me and they're all present in my life. But I don't spend as much time learning new things as I'd like to, and I don't have as much simplicity and order in my life as I would like. So if I can put some things in place to make progress on those areas, I should be bringing myself a bit more happiness and contentment in the future. And I have to say, I did already know that those things probably needed some work, but it still feels nice to have gone through this process and to make some intentional decisions to try and fill some of those gaps, knowing that any time that I dedicate to those things will be really valuable towards building the sort of future that I want and that will make me happy. So I know where to focus my attention now, and I'll see what progress I can make before I do this check again next year. And I think it does need to be an annual review, a bit like the objectives you might set for yourself at work. You can't just set them once and then stick with the same ones forever. You need to keep reviewing them to make sure that they're still relevant and to make sure that you're taking some action to meet those objectives. You can't get fired if you don't meet these objectives, and you probably won't get a pay rise, but you might end up with a more fulfilling life, and that would be a very nice return for your investments. You'll also have the confidence of knowing that you're not sleepwalking through your life because you're making a point of taking an annual review of your values and how well your life currently fits with them. So I would love to know what you think. If you'd like to leave a comment, maybe you've got some tips that you could share with me. I feel excited about making the changes that I've identified for myself, and I hope that you'll feel that way too if you decide to do the same thing. So I hope to see you next time, and in the meantime, don't sleepwalk. Bye.